Heavy. A class to some people that really just looks brain dead. It's a large guy with a big gun. Really just meant to mow down people and pick them off or pepper them, as you can say, from afar or up close. But myself, a heavy main, I don't really see heavy that way. I see a sort of complex class. A class that has different items with different benefits and different downsides. This video is sort of similar to my 2 weapon reviews in a way. This is a video about heavy.
Woke up this morning, got yourself a gun. Your mama always said you'd be the chosen one. She said, you're 1 in a million, you got to burn the shine. You were born under a bad sun with a blue moon in your eye. And you woke up this morning, all that love had gone. Your papa never told you about right and wrong. But you're looking good, baby. I believe that you're feeling fine. Shade my light, born under a bad sun with a blue moon in your eyes. Just sing it now. Woke up this morning, you got a blue moon in your eyes. Listen, you woke up this morning, the world turned upside down. Load of other things ain't been insane since the blues walked in our town. But you want in a million, 'cause you got that shotgun shine, shade my light, born under a bad sun with a blue moon in your eyes. Woke up this morning, got yourself a gun, got yourself a gun, got yourself a gun.
Now, with this heavy vid, I'm not going to go, here's heavy, here's some things you can do with him, there you go. I'm not going to be doing that. Not in the slightest. This video, I am going to go, in my opinion, very in depth with certain things about heavy, weapons, etc. I will be splitting it up into 3 sections with a 4th bonus section as well. I will be going over items in inventory, quote-unquote playstyles, which I'll go over more about that in its own section later in the video. And finally, I will be going over competitive and how heavy plays in a competitive style such as Highlander. And finally, I will be possibly interviewing a heavy main or 2. And I also hope you did like the Sopranos style opening that I did with the song and the gameplay over it. And I made something with the Sopranos later or down the road with streaming. Besides that, please enjoy the video, and on to our first section, items inventory. In total, Heavy has 19 weapons, with him having 5 miniguns, 3 shotguns, 4 lunchbox items, and 7 melee weapons. Now this is all excluding any and all class weapons and achievement items such as the Iron Curtain and the Fish Cake, etc. Now I would love to have the Iron Curtain, but I don't have a little over $300 to spend on a Steam key for Poker Night in the inventory, which, you know, I'm open to family share, but I already tried that with my other friends, and let's just say a guy who lives in the US can't really family share with someone who lived in Taiwan at the time, so that's cool. But if you want to see my tier list of the weapons for heavy, here they are up on the screen, probably one on the left, one on the right. I like stock as for all the miniguns. I know Shocker if you see my gameplay. And I think in S tier, I know I got the sandwich up there. I think something else. For the miniguns that Heavy has, he has the stock minigun, the Tomislav, the Natasha, the Brass Beast, and the Hulong Heater. For secondaries, he has the stock shotgun, Panic Attack, Family Business, the Sandwich, the Second Banana, the Delocus Bar, and the Buffalo Steak Sandwich. Finally, for the melee weapons, Heavy has the Fist, the Killing Gloves of Boxing, the Gloves of Running Urgently, or the GRU is what we call it, the Warrior Spirit, the Fist of Steel, the Eviction Notice, and finally, the Holiday Punch. Now there are all of these different weapons for Heavy, and you may be wondering what really differentiates them all from all the others. I'm here to explain that, and we're going to be starting off with melee weapons. Firstly, you have your stock fist. They do base damage as they're stock. They're given to you when you first start the game. They do damage, and they crit sometimes. They're okay. Next, you have your Killing Gloves of Boxing, or the KGB for short. When you get a kill, you get 5 seconds of 100% crits, which is fucking awesome. Because those crits not only go to your gloves, but also to the weapon that you are using. But the downside of them is they do have a slower firing speed. Next is the Gloves of Running Urgently, or the GRU. I do mostly see heavy mains use this, and I can completely understand why, since you go at Mach 10 when you're holding them out. But the problem is they holster much slower, and the maximum health that you have is drained to where you could easily be body shot by a scout. Next is the Eviction Notice, which is interesting. You get a faster firing speed. On a hit, you get a speed boost, and you move faster. Is it 50% faster move speed on wear, which is confusing. I'm reading this off literally while in the game. You do have a 60% damage penalty, and as the GRU, maximum health is drained while the item is active. Now, my personal favorite, the Fist of Steel, which is what I mostly use. You take less damage, mostly from bullets, etc., except for melee, while you have them out, but when you have them out, you have 100% damage from any and all melee sources. It also holsters 100% slower, minus 40% maximum overheal on wearer, and minus 40% from healers on wearer. Which kind of sucks, but I accept those downsides. Now, my least favorite, you could say, the Warrior Spirit, because this weapon was kind of forced onto me by someone who I will not speak about out of respect for them, even though the individual may not think I have respect for them. The Warrior Spirit, plus 30% damage bonus, plus 50 health restored on a kill, sounds pretty cool if you're up close in combat, but 30% damage vulnerability. Take what you can get. If you like it, that's cool. If you don't like it, that's cool. Finally, on to the melee weapon that I never use and that I will probably never use. The Holiday Punch. Crits make your victim laugh. Always crit from behind. On hit, they laugh. You double tap G, you do the heavy gun thing. Kinda overrated, bro. Like, oh my god! I made this guy laugh, I'm gonna do my heavy taunt, pow! Grow the fuck up, dude. It's not interesting. Good job. You went on a 20k kill streak. You went godlike with using the stupidest fucking thing in TF2 for heavy, for melee. Congratulations. I don't fucking care. Now that was all of the melee weapons for heavy. Now we are on to his secondaries, such as the lunchbox items and his shotguns. First you have your stock shotgun, which is the shotgun that's given to you when you start the game. From afar it does okay damage, like 13 at best. Don't bet on it. But at mid-range, it does a lot better since shotguns do tend to work better mid to close range. Close range works wonders. Now, the Panic Attack does piss poor damage at far range, and mid-range, don't even bet on it. Close range, though, it decimates targets. The main difference between stock and the Panic Attack are mainly the spread of the pellets with each shot. Next you have your family business, which at long range, piss poor damage, mid-range, alright damage, and close range, don't bet on it. Next we're on to the lunchbox islands, with the first one being the sandwich, which is basically a pocket med pack where it can heal you from any point of health up to full. You can even be at 250 health and it will heal up to 300, which it's pretty cool. It's mainly what I use whenever I play heavy. Next is the banana, which is the same as the sandwich except with a smaller healing percentage. But the caveat of the banana is that besides doing less health, it does also charge faster than the sandwich, which pretty good. It's not bad. It's not bad really. Next is the Locust Bar, which I don't use much, but it's still pretty good. The Locust Bar adds 50 health temporarily to your main health. Finally is the Buffalo Steak Sandwich, which, stop looking at your minigun, is the interesting of all the lunchbox items. It doesn't heal you, but it does give you full mini crits for any melee weapon that you are using. It's a lunchbox item that I'd say only really use it if you're playing medieval mode, but besides that, it's fine. That was the secondaries, and now we're on to the primaries. The stock minigun. From afar, it's gonna do about 5 to 10 damage. Kinda piss poor, especially if you're just holding down the trigger for the minigun, but if you burst fire like how I'm doing here, you can pretty much secure the bag for a kill. Now at mid-range, it does a lot more damage, going from 44 to 46 per bullet, and point-blank range does 49 to 55. The Tomislav, a minigun favorite amongst majority of heavy mains that I've seen, does about 30 to 12 damage from far range. And at mid-range, does 12 to 22, give or take. And at close range, does 49 to 51. One of the main differences between stock and Tomislav is the tighter bullet spread. The Hulong Heater, one of the more interesting miniguns. From afar, it does about 3 to 6 damage. Just piss poor all around. Just genuinely piss poor. At mid-range, it does about 3 to 10. It's still piss poor. But at close range, it does 44 to 59 damage. Now the more interesting aspect about the Hulong Heater is that while revved up, you create a ring of fire. But in doing so, you drain 4 ammo per second. So that's pretty cool. The Natasha, Heavy's best and worst weapon. And from afar, it does 4 to 5 damage, give or take. It's, with all the numbers jumbling up from him, my guy, it's hard to see. At mid-range, it does, again, 4 to 18. A little better, but still not as good. Close range does 26 to 39 damage, making it the lowest damage output from what I've seen for a minigun for heavy. Now the main upside to the Natasha is that every bullet that connects to an enemy slows them down. So if you're good at laser beaming, you could piss some people off. Finally, the Brass Beast, with it doing 6 to 11 damage from far range, which is better than most miniguns, but it's for a reason. For mid-range, it does 13 to 20 damage. Pretty good. And at close range, it does 61 to 62 damage. Now the main drawback for the Brass Beast is that when you're fully revved, you move at a literal snail's pace. And I mean literal snail's pace. And you can see it taking a literal snail's pace by seeing how long it takes me to go from the end of red concrete to blue concrete on product through connector. Finally, we have rev times, with the rev time for the minigun being 0.87 seconds. The Natasha being 1.12 seconds. The Brass Beast being 1.58 seconds. And the Tomislav being 0.6 seconds. Now that was all of Heavy's melee weapons, secondaries, lunchbox items, and primaries. They all have their ups and downs, some of them having more downs than ups, but it's up to you what you want to use. You give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach a man to fish, you feed him for the rest of his life. Now we are on to our next section, playstyles. The first playstyle on the menu today is what I like to call the Fat Man. Now, the Fat Man mainly consists of the Natasha, the Delocus Bar, and the Fist of Steel. Now, the reason why I have the Delocus Bar in there, it was recommended by a friend of mine. It's mainly to combat the damage penalty you have while using Natasha. Now, there's nothing really too special about the Fat Man playstyle, which I kind of made the name on the spot, but stay with me here. Isn't really special at all about it. It's really, you're just using the Natasha and you're just slowing down people and trying to kill them. It's mainly just, you're playing heavy, but you have 50 more health. And it's something interesting to play. It's a different playstyle. If you want to use it, you can. If you don't want to, that's fine. I'm not really trying to give playstyles that, hey, I'm telling you, you have to play this way to be good at heavy. I'm just making this shit fun. Making heavy from not a boring W, M2, M1 while you're Ubered and whatnot. Just trying to make heavy fun again. That's mainly what I'm just trying to do here. Now, the main reason why the Delocus Bar is used is because 1, the damage penalty, and 2, the buff you have when your health is below 50% or at 50%. You get a 20% damage resistance to any and all things, and since you have that extra 50 health, it makes you have more health while you're below 50. Instead of being at the base HP and then half that, you'll have a better chance of surviving when you're low on HP. That's mainly why I suggest you use the Delocus Bar when using this playstyle, if you want to use this playstyle. On to the second playstyle. Now, this playstyle many know, but for those who don't, this is the Fat Scout. Now, there isn't really anything original for me about the Fat Scout. Everyone's done it before. You get the shotgun heavy, you walk around, get kills, boom. It's mainly just really made fun of, but what I suggest you use is the Panic Attack and the KGB, because you kill the KGB, get crits. With the W spread of the Panic Attack, you can get some kills. Overall, it's alright. It's an alright playstyle. I personally don't use it, but when I'm feeling freaky, I will. But again, if you don't want to use Panic Attack, that's fine. You can use stock. It's a great weapon. And if you want to use the Philly business, that's fine also. It ain't gonna harm me anyway. Now on to the third playstyle. Now, this third playstyle is something I like to call the Fatter Man. Now, you may be wondering, is this just the Natasha loadout, but instead you replaced it with the Brass Beast? And yes, that is exactly what this is. Sort of. The main reason why I call it the Fatter Man is because you move at a snail's pace while you're revved up with this engine. And you also dish out damage like they're pairs of socks. Just going everywhere, going through another and another and another, and just destroys people. And again, the same thing applies to the Delocus Bar here, since, again, 20% damage resistance when you're below 50% HP. So that's majority of the reason why. It's the same loadout, but not the same loadout at the same time. You can kind of see what I'm saying here, you know? Now on to our fourth and final playstyle. Now this playstyle is very interesting, you can say. I call it the Pocket Pyro, or the PP for short. Now how the Pocket Pyro works is more of a tag and kill system. The pyro flames targets, I kill them faster, since the Hulong Heater does deal more damage to players that are on fire. Now, mainly what I run for this loadout is the Hulong Heater, the Second Banana, and the Apoco Fist, which, please pardon the name, I bought these off of marketplace.tf. Not sponsored, by the way. And again, how this playstyle works is you play with a pyro and he is in your pocket. He goes with you and he flames anyone, and anyone that he flames, you kill. And it's that simple. And honestly, I think it's a fine playstyle, especially if you're playing on payload where you have infinite ammo basically when you're hog riding the cart. But besides that, that's majority of what this playstyle is. That was all the playstyles that I really thought of talking about. Mostly ones that I kind of just made for the hell of it. And I could have talked about more, but I really couldn't think of any more. And I could have pushed some research into this section, but I didn't feel like it. But that's the majority of this section. And on to our next section, competitive for heavy. Now, I may think that heavy in a competitive setting is kind of difficult, which you're not wrong, but at the same time, he's kind of brain dead. Let me explain. Now, where heavy stands on the totem pole for a Highlander or GL team is quite low, not as low as I'd say an engineer, which is surprising for some people, but kinda low. What your main role is on the team is to help outflank, to make sure the scout, the soldier, and the enemy heavy doesn't come over and take over flank for your team, to where it's harder for you to get out from spawn and to try and push under the point, or push the cart, etc. You get what I mean. Now, for this section, I'll be going over 3 maps that I have and will be playing for Highlander. And those maps are Product, Asheville, and Steel. Product. The first map I'll be going over in this section. It's basically just Viaduct, but warm with a few changes. It's mainly used in the competitive setting, and it's not really seen in-game, which I wish it actually was in-game. It's a very good map. One of the main differences is that there's this hallway in the concrete area where typically there would just be a wall, and that area is called Connector. Another difference is the little sidewall right here that's next to the box to the right is much shorter to accommodate the hallway there. So how heavy is played on Product is quite simple actually. You would have a soldier whipping you out of spawn, and you'd be heading straight to left side. And you would go from left side into grass. And then from grass all the way to concrete. And you would stop at this little wall that I'm punching, and this is a decent head glitch if there's a sniper sightline on cliff, or if you're just kind of getting bugged down by soldier and scout on the other heavy. It's not a bad spot, but the next spot is much better, in my opinion, for heavy. Which is this little ridge up here that's by crate. This is your typical spot you would go to for heavy. You have a good side of Connector, a good side of Red Rock, good side of Cliff, good side of China, Japan, and enemy concrete, which in this case is red concrete. And in general, it's a great spot. It's probably the most preferred spot for heavy mains who play competitively and on Product. Now the next spot is not so great. It's considered old meta now, is playing on Rock. It's a great head glitch, which you have cover of concrete, main, valley, China, Japan, and a little bit of cliff if you're in the right area. But overall, it's not such of a great meta anymore. It's okay. Now the next area you can go to is kind of if you're playing a little more aggressive, but not too aggressive. It's standing on top of this tall crate right here, and you have a perfect sightline on enemy grass. And behind you is main, and you have a sight on valley and red rock and cliff. Now this is the more aggressive spot, very, very aggressive. It's standing behind these 3 crates out of the enemy's right side, which leads to red grass. This, very aggressive, but you have to be careful of main and cliff, and house as well, and spies too. And the final area is this little head glitch here, which is just chef's kiss. It's perfect, absolutely perfect. But again, you have to worry about main, cliff, left side, house, and in general, spies. You get spy checking, and you're golden on this map. Asheville, my personal favorite out of all the cult maps that I've played for Highlander. It's an interesting map, it's community made, and in my opinion it's very well made, well themed, and I really enjoy it. How heavy is playing this map is about the same. You're getting whipped by the soldier and you're heading through main. And you have to make sure you stay, mostly the entire team, except for the medic and the demo, stay on the right side of the wall, so the demo get arrowed, and then you head out a shutter. You spray a few, you try to get a kill if you can, then you head over to box, and congratulations. You go to box, you head glitch, you have a perfect silent of battlements, the enemy box, and shutter, and also ramp. But be careful of ramp, because a spy will 100% try to go for your ass. Now, if you're getting bogged down by the enemy team, you're going to mainly stay in the main area of battlements, and for heavy, you're going to be in the little stairway that faces toward shutter and main. You're going to kind of be waiting for soldiers to try to bomb in, maybe the enemy heavy or the enemy scout coming through shutter to kind of get them, and also the spy as well. And you're mainly staying here so you can build Uber up and be able to attack. Now, if y'all are fighting on the aggressive, you have our holding point down, you're going to go to the enemy box, and you're going to stay here, and you're going to reverse head glitch, which basically is you're head glitching but on the other side, and instead of facing more towards, and you face towards bats, ramp, shutter, you have beautiful silence, and you don't have to worry that much about spy, but still be schizophrenic, turn around a bunch. Overall, this map is good as heavy, or good for heavy, excuse me. It's good for heavy, it's a great map all around. Steel. An interesting map for Highlander, with that it's not the same steel as it is in base TF2. There are some differences, such as this stairwell leading from blue spawn to A is a lot more cramped than it typically is in base TF2. The 2 barrels that are by A are also no longer there, which is very, very sad. Also, the shutter door that leads in this little area right here out of red spawn is also no longer there too. There's this little ramp leading from Wishbone to B, which I'll go over Wishbone soon. I think this is different. I don't know. I don't play Steel that much in casual. And the little spawn door that leads to D is on this wall instead of the wall that is next to it with the little boiler thingy there. Finally, the room that red spawns in is a little more different with the doorway being there. Now, there is this area called Wishbone, which is the area that is between the hallway that leads to E from B, but it also leads to C as well. This area is the main area that you want to control when you are playing Steel competitively. It is the key to handling the map, and is the area that can turn the tide of battle. Now, how heavy is played on Steel is quite interesting. You're typically going to be heading up these stairs here and loosely going around this little cliff area. Also, spy check there. Spies, let's hide there. Now, when it comes to A is typically always a free point. You never, ever hold A when you are playing red at all on Steel, especially in a Highlander setting. And when you take A, you go through this tunnel from spawn to B. Or you can get the little side tunnel as well that opens up when you capture A, but majority of the time go through this tunnel. You're going to have these stairs and prepare for a heavy being on that oil drum. And you'll use the little window here for maybe as a head glitch, but when you're playing red on here, stand on this oil drum and we have a pretty good spot to be able to kind of watch over the stairwell here. The side tunnel right there that leads from A. But be careful, a spy could probably get the nastiest backstabbing here as well. Now there's a sheet of metal that you can also climb onto as well, but it's not really so great. You get barely any movement. Now, after capturing B, you head through Wishbone always. You can go through Slow Door, but don't worry about it. You go from Wishbone to C, and it might be a straight drive there. You don't really know, because they may be hard holding C. And you just walk through, simple as that. And the sheet of metal right here, you can actually get on top of that, and you still are technically capturing the point, and you have some great coverage of spawn. And bread heavy on this is you just stand here, head glitch. It's not that deep, really. Now, when it comes to D, it's just head glitching here. It's not gonna really be that tough. D's kind of a free point a little bit. Now, for E, you have a few choices. You can pick from this little window here that's pointing at E and has good coverage of a few sight lines. This head glitch here by this other sheet of metal on the stairwell is okay. I wouldn't suggest it. Only really use it if you're that desperate. But this window, really perfect. Good coverage of the White Room exit. Good coverage of spawn, the E, and of JFK, which is a sightline for sniper. And this is White Room. You're really only ever going to go in here if you're fully pushing from A all the way to E, if your team's going to commit to it. It really just depends on the playbook of the demo. The entirety of playing Steel really depends on how the demo wants to play. That is mainly what competitive is for Heavy, mainly Highlander, since that's what I do for TF2. And all around, it's not hard, it's kind of brain dead from what my teammates and a few of my mentors say. But there are still some complexities, or some complexity to Heavy when it comes to playing as him in that competitive setting. There are still certain things you have to do. There are still certain places you have to go to, etc., etc. It's a very stressing matter, and I'm going to be genuine with y'all. The last season that I played for Highlander, which is my first season for me and my entire team that I'm on, it was a shit show, a genuine shit show. We had to deal with some shitty individuals, some shitty teammates, and we got just destroyed. We, to be real, got no actual wins. All of them were in if you count the first one, technicality, we won by forfeit for all the ones that we had for last season. But the first win that we had, I didn't want to make the team that we went up against forfeit. So I just said, fuck it, we ball, we fought them, we demolished them, which I hated how we did. But it's just, playing competitively for TF2 in general is a very stressful thing. It brings out the worst in every single person that I've met. Hell, even some of my closest friends that are on the team went through the shitter as well. Our main team leader, who, God, I love you, dude, I'm here for you whenever you need me, went through the most stressful situation of his entire life. He moved from one state to the other, and moving just turned the stress meter for him fucking at maximum. He didn't even get to play in a single game till our final official game of the season. I feel so bad for him. And again, dude, you know who you are. I'm here for you if you need me, man. But some other things about this. This has taken a while to make for this video. The countless amount of recordings I have to do, audios I have to record. This is the 51st audio file that I am recording of my own fucking voice. It takes so much. This is probably take 5 or 6. A lot of these take a bunch of takes. When it comes to me, I can't speak continuously for a while, and I'm sorry that I'm ranting. It's almost done. Trust me. But this video takes a lot, and I really hope that you enjoy this. Please. This, to me, is my crowning jewel in my YouTube career, and that I hope I make another one that's better than this. But besides the little rant, that has been competitive for Heavy. Now, the next part of the video is going to be a little weird. I might be interviewing a Heavy main or 2 or 3. I don't really know. I am recording this audio before I actually do the interviews themselves. All I'm really going to do is going to ask a few basic questions, maybe some specific questions if they tend to the right person, but besides that, on to our first interview.
Okay, Garmin. Video speichern. Ja, das war rot, gute Frau.
Vorausgesetzt, die kamen nicht irgendwo da raus.
Now, Rod Nugget is one of my Heavy main friends, and obviously he mains Heavy. And what's awesome about him is that he's also German, which makes this thing 10 times more cooler and badass. For the interview/interviews, I asked 5 simple questions. How long have you been playing TF2 for? Did anyone get you into TF2, such as a family member or a friend? Why do you main Heavy? Were there any other classes that you mained before you mained Heavy? And finally, if there was any other class you'd want to main, who would it be? Now, on to the interview. The first question I asked was, how long have you been playing TF2 for? Nugget replied with, I've been playing TF2 for 7 to 8 years. I spent a good chunk of my childhood only with TF2. I then replied with, interesting, and I asked him, did anyone get you into TF2, such as a family member or one of his friends? He replied to my question with, none of those. I got introduced to TF2 through the Meet the Amazing Team animations by Pymation. From there it kept on rolling. I started watching Gmod and SFM machinimas, and eventually went over to watching actual TF2 gameplay. After that, I asked him, why do you main Heavy? He replied with, I love his character so much. His design and voice are a perfect mix. I also love being the tank in my team who mows everyone down. Whenever I play class-based shooters, just revving up the minigun and raining down havoc on every poor soul that crosses my team's path. I love the feeling like an unstoppable force. The Heavy satisfies my hunger for this. I replied to his answer with fill you on that. And then I asked him, were there any other classes you mained before you mained Heavy? He then also replied with, my first main and longest lasting main until I started maining Heavy was the Engineer. His character grew on me the quickest and closest. When I first got exposed to TF2 media and watching his gameplay was so much fun. Being able to build and upgrade buildings, and being able to become somewhat of a defensive wall, or just a logistics and support guy who brings your team to the front line, was super fun for me. Eventually I went over to Heavy because my taste just changed, and a lot in terms of gameplay. I had a short edgy phase as a diehard Pyro main when I was 13, lol. I then replied with, genuinely surprised you mained Engineer before. Then I asked him the final question, if there was any other class you'd want to main, who would it be? His final answer was, if there was a gun pointed to my head, I would say Medic. But jokes aside, I would main Demo or Soldier. I'd like to personally thank you, Nugget, for letting me interview you for this video. If you want to follow him on any form of social media, I will put all of his links down in my description. He is a genuinely good dude, and as he always says, stay badass. And on to our next interview. Now for this next interview, the heavy main that I'll be interviewing is a bit of a interesting fellow, is what I'd say. Someone who I've kind of met, I wouldn't really say recently, but he's a very, very chill guy. And I'd say a much of a badass one at that. And that heavy main is... Now, if you don't believe me that this awesome individual is not a heavy main, just look at this clip.
Oh, dang old piss, man.
Bro, this is even as fuck. What the hell?
He's got a fucking piss chameleon, piss glasses, piss bandana. This boy got a problem, I'll tell you. That boy ain't right.
Has the piss outfit.
I hate him. He's a freak.
You see? Piss outfit. But besides that, he's genuinely a very good dude. I did ask him the same 5 questions that I asked Nugget as well, but I did ask a 6th question that was specially made on the spot for him. Now before I start showing Serge's answers to my questions, I do have to say this was done while he was streaming live. It may seem unorthodox, but just trust the system, please. Just trust it, please. First, I asked him, how long have you been playing TF2 for?
How long you been playing TF2 for? Well, brother. I've been playing it. I was 16 when I was almost 16 when I downloaded it. I wanted to get Skyrim. I'd listened to Amon Amarth once, and I was like, okay, pagan now. Gotta play Skyrim, I guess. And my parents were like, you're not 18. How are you gonna play an 18 game? I'm like, no, there's no sex. And they're like, no. So I got Steam anyway, and I was like, well, TF2 is fucking... Fuck! Some people play that, and downloaded it. Played it about a year heavily. Another year, kind of fell off a bit. You know, got back for jungle a little bit. Then my little shit top, I got back on it. This is about 2020, and I was like, huh, there's a lot of really good snipers. I really was out of it, and yeah, I started really going hard. Well, I needed a good game to stream. And I was like, dude, streaming this is fun as fuck. Huh? Oh. And that pretty much does it. About, I guess, 4 years now I've been really playing it. Really playing it. Like, really. Like, I mean, when I played it when I was 16, don't get me wrong, I was playing the fuck out of that game. I read all the comics, and you know, I had a really killer loadout.
Then I asked him, did anyone get you into TF2? Like a family member or a friend?
Anyone get you into TF2? I had homies who talked about it. I knew about it in the gaming space. I watched a lot of YouTube about gaming, and gaming YouTubers found it certified fresh. No!
Then I asked him, why do you main heavy?
Why do you main heavy? I'm a 6'2", 250-pound Russian man. It's because I like him for the DEI. I'm DEI, so I like the DEI Russian character. I'm not being ironic. The representation feels good, even if it is stereotyped.
After that, I asked him, were there any other classes you mained before you mained heavy?
Any other classes you made? No. I literally said, that one! That one! He's big, he's strong, he is honorable man! He don't need a shovel, he just... Falco! Punch! And then you're out, yeah.
Then I asked him if there was any other class you'd want to main, who would it be?
Soldier maybe. I like playing Scout, Engineer, and Demo too. Demo Knight, yeah, probably Demo Knight, yeah.
And finally, as my final question, I asked him, well, do you think Heavy is a misunderstood class?
Yeah. I think he's a misunderstood class. What is this? He's a misunderstood class because people think you're just supposed to do this. No, not even that. Just yeah, no. You're supposed to do this. Ooh. Supposed to do this. Watch this. Fuck. Yeah! See that? Stop when you get close.
Again, I'd like to personally thank you, ThunderX Surge, for letting me interview for my video. Again, if you want to check them out, links will always be in the description. Always, for any one of my friends that I have in any of my videos, everything will always be in the description. And on a final note, if you were to ask me who the best heavy main was, in my opinion, it would be someone to me that's well known. Likes to play heavy a lot. Great player. And that heavy main is Kegaman. In my opinion, Kegaman, you are one of the greatest heavy mains known to man. You dominate the playing field, and I thank you for being one of my inspirations for heavy recently. For being more of an inspiration to me to push more to play heavy, even for competitive. Thank you, man. I doubt you may see this video, but genuinely, thank you. And now on to my closing speech. As a whole, heavy can seem it's just a one-trick pony, but you, the player, don't have to do that. Treat heavy as some form of soup, and the items you have as your ingredients and spices. Yeah, you can have your basic tomato soup, where you only use simple ingredients and spices, but you can also have your miso soup, your chicken noodle soup, your ramen, your lobster bisque, etc. Heavy is your soup, and you, the player, are the cook preparing it. It's up to you to decide which ingredients you want to use to create it. And yes, there are already, in quotations, recipes, but never, ever stray away from experimenting. But besides all that, this has been Cheesy Weezy 372 saying good night, America, and I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye. 'Cause I'm a punk rocker, yes I am.